All right, it's time to start our panel discussion. As we dive into today's discussions, keep in mind that ICT4Ag is about building bridges between stakeholders, fostering collaboration, and finding practical solutions to real-world problems in agri-food systems.
And with that, we welcome you to our panel discussion on localizing digital agriculture for impact, policy framework, stakeholder collaborations, and partnerships. We have an esteemed panel with us today, each bringing unique insights into the critical areas of digital agriculture. Our goal is to explore how we can effectively localize digital agriculture to create meaningful impact, especially for smallholder farmers. And we encourage everyone to engage with them, ask questions, and think about how we can collectively address the challenges in our agri-food systems.
We are also extending our welcome to our online attendees right now. Welcome to our panel discussion. We hope to have a productive and insightful discussion today. It is my honor at this point to introduce to you our panelists. First, we have Assistant Professor Paolo Rommel P. Sanchez from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, representing the academic research sector. Sir? Sir Paolo Sanchez obtained his undergraduate degree in agricultural engineering from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños in 2007. During the same year, he ranked first in the Philippine Agricultural Engineering Licensure Examination. He later joined Del Monte Pacific Incorporated and worked for a year as a supervisor of a 250-hectare pineapple plantation. He then went back to UPLB to obtain his master's degree in agricultural engineering. Since his graduation in 2011, he's been serving as a member of UPLB faculty and taught courses in computer applications in engineering and machine design. He recently obtained his PhD in mechanical engineering in 2023 under the Faculty Development Program of Engineering Research and Development for Technology. This is a scholarship funded by the Department of Science and Technology of the Philippine government. Presently, he continues to serve as a member of the UPLB faculty in the Institute of Agricultural and Biosystems Engineering. Currently, he serves as the director of the Digital Innovation Center of UPLB. A round of applause, please. Next, we have Ms. Juka Lacsina. She is an agripreneur and representative of the private sector affiliated with GoEdenPH. We also have Sir Clamor Pasaquian, a farmer leader from Mid-Bal Communal Irrigators Association Incorporated. He is providing perspective from the field. And last but not least, we have Director Glenn Estrada. He is the Program Director for Digitalization and Value Chain Development at the Department of Agriculture, our government representative. There you have it, our panelists. Thank you, ma'am and sir, for joining us today. All right, let's dive into our first topic.
So for the first topic this morning, we'll be focusing on policy frameworks. And that's why let's start with policy frameworks supporting digital agriculture. So to set the stage, it's essential to understand where we are and where we aim to go with these policies. That's why my first question right away is going to Director Glenn Estrada. So what are the current policy frameworks supporting digital transformation and where we are now in terms of digitizing the agri-food value chain?
Okay, good morning, everyone. So for that wonderful question, of course, we always anchor our policies in with the Philippine Development Plan that is just recently approved by this current administration, which emphasizes the digital infrastructure and promoting digital literacy across various sectors. But for us in the department, of course, the agriculture sector. Then of course we also have included in that plan is the national broadband plan, so which aims to provide universal internet access, which is we believe critical for deploying digital agriculture technologies and services. And for the department, among the trust of the secretary is digital agriculture strategy of the DA, which focuses on primarily on integrating the digital technologies into the agri-food value chain, covering areas like precision agriculture, digital extension services, and of course, e-commerce for farmers. And lastly, we're still working on this on the agriculture roadmap, which outlines the strategic directions for adopting ICT in agriculture to improve data collection and enhance the decision making and foster innovation. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Director Sir Glenn, for that. And indeed, that's a very comprehensive overview showing us that we have different plans. Our government has existing plans to cover such advancements in the field of digital agriculture and how the government could reach more people and more stakeholders for us to move forward with this digital agriculture. And with that, Marian, would you like to ask the next question?
Yes, so building on the policy frameworks provided to us by Director Glenn Estrada, let's now move on to our next question, which is now directed to Sir Charlie Pasaquian. Sir, from a farmer's perspective, how do the government efforts on digital transformation impact your daily operations and livelihood?
Of course, once again, good morning to each and everyone. It has a very big impact on our field, especially for us, the farmers, because it will strengthen their support on our day-to-day activity. So the farmers are all relying on the government supports in terms of different inputs, different protections for the farmers. That's why these policies that the government is crafting and implementing are so important for the farmers. This will protect the future of our country in terms of food security.
Right. Thank you, Sir Charlie. It's really interesting to see how, as Sir Charlie mentioned earlier, farmers are really looking for support from the government in terms of various needs and on the ground, right, sir? But perhaps there's a need for more inclusive policymaking processes that directly involve farmers. That's why we are thankful, sir, that you are here, because we are already starting now in terms of creating policies that are more inclusive, right?
Thank
Yes, sir.
Thank you for that.
Yes, so I would like, Sir Glenn, would you like to respond to Mr. Charlie's statement? Would like to add something?
Yeah. What's really the critical for the government as far as digital transformation of the sector is number one is of course ensure access for this for our who matters the most, which are the end of the line is the farmers, and make these ICTs available. But as far as government, we would like to have to provide visibility across segments, achieve a certain degree of efficiency as far as service deliveries. At the same time, promote transparencies and traceability as well in government. And lastly, of course, as what my partners have said here, is to provide direct support, and that it is well within the realm of uh, the digital transformation in line with developing or modernizing the agriculture. We also appreciate the fact that as far as the digital space or the collaborative space that is available there is so big. So as far as the government is concerned, we are, especially for the DA, we are on the stance of pursuing more collaborations, make the process more or less take the more participatory direction to of course uh, pursue giving our farmers more equity because as we know digital services it's not cheap. It's not cheap. No? At the same time, it is very disruptive. So as far as having the right mindset, or as far as the I like the word culture in agriculture because as far as the digital transformation as being it as very disruptive, uh, it's really challenging to break that culture in agriculture. Uh, so as far as our perceptions and moving towards perspective, uh, that is what we try to solve as a puzzle in the equation. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Glenn. Indeed, it's very important to, what you mentioned earlier, the participatory approach or a very consultative approach in knowing and assessing what the farmers actually needs and how we can make them feel that they're taken into the equation. They're part of the equation. They're part of building the solution in moving forward with this digital agriculture and in our country. So thank you very much, Sir Glenn, for your wonderful insights. And I think the next question will be for Miss Juka Lacsina. So, ma'am, what are the key challenges you encounter in providing digital agriculture solutions and services to your clients?
Good morning po. Thank you for inviting me here. So I would like to share our perspective. Private sector po kami. I am currently a co-founder of a startup. What we do is we sell agri-supplies online. Nationwide delivery po ito. This is GoEdenPH.com. And I am on the field pretty much Monday to Friday. And the realities that we experience, this is what we want to raise here in policy talks with governments. Kasi yun yung nakikita talaga namin. These are realities on the ground. One is towards adoption of digital technology. I think one is the negative. We have to double our branding and marketing efforts because we have to recreate the negative experiences of farmers in online transactions. How can we blame them? So we have our ads on Facebook, on social media, and the first response we have from farmers, scam yan. Scam yan, hindi yan totoo, legit, hindi yan legit, fake yan. How can we blame them? All of, or most, if not all of their experiences in major e-commerce platforms and online marketplaces are always negative. They buy seeds, they get shipped with another item. They buy something, they pay, walang makakarating na parcel sa kanila. So imagine for us, our marketing doesn't even start with brand introduction. It starts with proving our legitimacy. So it's so hard for us because how do you break this negative, how do we recreate a positive experience from a sector or experience that's always like negative from the onset? And that stems from the lack of enforcement of a lot of policies in ensuring all the digital players in the market adhere to the highest industry standards, that the laws, for example, of regulatory agencies are enforced in these platforms. But second is that it's infrastructure. Kahit po we advance our technology, even if we have GoEdenPH and the access is nationwide, our infrastructure, if they're not in place, we will not have maximum impact locally in the Philippines. I will discuss this later in my breakout session in the afternoon in a more detailed manner. But this infrastructure limitation is a glass ceiling for us. We want farmers to access quality agri-supplies, fertilizers that are registered with the FPA, fertilizers and seeds that are not expired. Lagi pong bago ang stocks. But paano naman yung ibang players sa market? How can we ensure also that this technology reaches the farmers where we get compared with Indonesia and Vietnam? They have over 70,000 towers nationwide. Hulaan niyo po ilan ang towers ng Philippines. As of 2019 per DICT data, 20,000 lang po. So that's not even like close to the numbers of our Southeast Asian neighbors. So I think when we want like technology, ICT4Ag to have like a maximum localized impact, infrastructure and policy should support all the advances that the private sector is like doing on the ground. So yun po, salamat.
Wow, thank you very much,
Yeah.
Ms. Juka, for that wonderful statement. And well, me myself, I'm guilty because I am not even aware of how challenging it is
Yes.
to promote such, accessibility online.
Yes.
Because the first barrier you encounter is proving your legitimacy.
Yes.
And then aside from that, the next hurdle would be the lack of infrastructures and even the enforcements to allow these farmers to be, to have peace of mind in like purchasing their supplies online. So I think if you want to hear more from Miss Juka, we can attend her breakout session in the afternoon, right?
Yeah.
So thank you very much. So I think it's very important how public and private partnerships, I think that's one thing that could help, solve some of those problems, and how this could be structured more effectively to overcome the challenges that you've mentioned. Thank you very much.
Right. That's really a heavy issue. And it's nice that we're really having this. On the private sector's perspective, they cannot market because what they are doing, they wanted to market, but what they do or what they end up doing is crisis management already. Right. So that's really a challenge. But we hope that we can work on that in the next few years ahead. That's why we are here collaborating to really provide solutions for these real world problems that we are facing. Moving on, let's now have a question to Assistant Professor Paolo Rommel P. Sanchez. Sir, what policy innovations do you believe are essential to accelerate the adoption and maximize the impact of digital agriculture, particularly in ensuring accessibility, affordability, and sustainability for all stakeholders, including our smallholder farmers?
Okay. First, thank you very much for inviting me here to be one of the panel to give my opinion regarding the topics at hand. Of course, I would like to first commend all of the efforts that are being done by the government and also by UPLB. So I would second the opinion of Ma'am Lacsina when it comes to really the cost of infrastructure. I'm actually in a unique position that I'm a researcher, faculty, and at the same time administrator in UPLB. Specifically, I handle the ICT infrastructure of UPLB. It's really very expensive. So to get to the point, the first point is that I appreciate really the effort of the government in modifying or changing or upgrading the procurement policy. Because I've heard that it will be improved, it will be implemented soon. I don't know. So I'm excited to experience tangible improvements because of the new policies in the government. Because procurement is really a challenge in terms of research and also in providing sufficient infrastructure for UPLB. The cost of the ICT equipment is very expensive. Firewalls cost millions of pesos. Even the transceivers, they cost probably 50,000 pesos or more. Some might even cost 200,000 pesos, just one transceiver, and you get a pair at both ends. And if you ask UPLB how much transceivers do we have to distribute across our network, we have all close to 200 transceivers. So just do the math. That's the cost of the infrastructure. So again, policy in improving the procurement is very much welcome. Now, second and third would be in terms of the data structure, we're all doing research. And then specifically, I'm doing research in modular robotics. So my idea is that we should have a policy with regards to first there are already the momentum towards open data is already building up. Because one data of a scientist or a researcher would be on another use to another researcher or to another organization. So better, I think, promulgating, or let's say expanding or promoting the information regarding open data is also one thing. And then the third one is also promoting standards in terms of data structure. So I'm also involved, of course, with robotics. AI plays a big role in robotics, especially in vision systems. So what I want to look for, what I'm looking forward is for us to have a repository of all these images that each of us will be needing most likely in our researches in the future. So I do hope it's a private or government initiative that will have a collective repository of all of this information. Or if not, there's a standard on how these data will be prepared. So it will be easy for scientists to use other people's data. And also in terms of standards, in terms of machines, for also all of us to come up with a standard, especially for modular systems. I could focus my work on a particular module, and then other people could work on another module, and all of us could just work together. The efforts of one person could be used by another person. So that's the thing that I'm really looking forward to. So we would minimize the duplicity, and the redundancy of research. So yeah.
All right, sir. Thank you for that answer. Right, open data right now is really important, especially we're going towards digitalization. As mentioned earlier by our ATI Assistant Director, we have to be more data-driven for us to make better or more informed decisions in the future when it comes to farming, when it comes to agriculture. So that's something that we will work on together, sir, having open data. I think we already have that, but on our own. Like we are doing it on our own compartmentalized way. We're not yet there on the sharing within the private, within the universities, for example. Yeah, sure, sir.
Yeah, because policy in open data is one thing, but implementing open data and also the storage, the cost of the storage, the infrastructure for that is again very expensive. So I've been to a lot of conferences discussing all of these network storage solutions. They're very expensive. So I'm not an economist, so I would give that. I mean, solving that problem.
All right. Thank you, sir. Those things that you mentioned are really crucial in terms of our steps further into digitalization. And it's vital to consider how these innovations can be piloted and scaled effectively within different local contexts.
Okay, that's right. Thank you very much, Assistant Professor Sanchez. Now we head on to our next section, which is on stakeholder collaborations and partnerships for local impact. So I know you guys might have questions for our panel members, but please reserve them because we will be entertaining them towards the end of this second section. Okay? Okay. Okay. So we'll save more. So we'll save time and have more time for questions later. Okay. So Marianne, would you like to ask the next question again?
All right. So for our next question, we
Sorry.
have a question for Sir Glenn.
Yeah.
Sir Glenn again. Who are the stakeholders needed for digital transformation in the agriculture sector, and how can they be involved?
Okay. Firstly, of course, government agencies
Yes.
will have to have a critical role as far as providing policies, of course, funding, at the same time implement digital initiatives, and of course, immediate to the Department of Agriculture, of course, are the communities or the farmers organizations or the farmers themselves are crucial as well for the adoption and implementation of these digital technologies at the grassroots level. Um, but at the same time, understanding that the resources of government and the limit that we have could be complemented, especially by the private sector. So we are into the companies, the telecoms. That's something that not we have. Um, the technology providers, the developers, uh, uh, we have, or the government, we have some limitations as far as manpower and resources, but it could be immediately augmented by the private sector. The academe, of course, and the research institutions could also play a critical role. We also would like to top the non-government organizations. IRI, for example, is collaborating with us. And of course, the financial institutions, the donors, international donors, uh, they could offer us our financial products, services to support digital agriculture investments. And yeah, international development organizations, funding, technical assistance, and best practices from other regions as well. So we are into, for the government, currently we welcome to have more collaborations with all of these stakeholders in the agriculture sector. So private sector is very much welcome.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's great to hear that we have a great lineup of possible stakeholders and key players for our aspirations, to bloom later on. And it's clear that a multi-stakeholder approach can bring a diverse expertise and resources, especially that you mentioned public-private partnerships and also including the academe. It's, aside from the technical backgrounds, from the budget or maybe funds that can be complemented by the private sector, and even also technical expertise from international organizations such as IRI. So what I can say that to that, it's a very collaborative effort, and it's very important to be collaborative. And I'm not IRI stingy, but I'm very happy to say that I think IRI is very welcome to the idea of working with the Philippine government in ensuring that these aspirations will be achieved later on. Thank you, sir.
Right. And looking at our panelists, our experts right now, building on what Director Glenn mentioned, next year, Sir Benny, next year, let's have more financial institutions if we will have this event next
Yeah.
year. So that's really a good mix into the equation, right? Okay, so moving on, we have this question to Ms. Juka Lacsina. How can the private sector and agripreneurs effectively collaborate with the government to promote and scale digital agriculture initiatives, ensuring that these efforts are sustainable and inclusive?
Ayun. Siguro po firstly, sana involved po kami sa policy talks. Sana whenever we create policies, they are data-driven. They are addressing real pain points. Sana po bottom-up yung approach, hindi top-down. And though we are a private sector, like kami, agri-tech startup kami, we have our own vested interest. And of course, that's towards profitability. We will not deny that. We also represent yung pain points ng problems namin, ng farmers, ng kliyente namin. So, kami po, we just hope that we will be involved in the picture. Not just like the big brands already in the market, but realize that the agri-tech sector, like the startups in the agri-tech sector right now are playing a pivotal role in like dissemination of ICT, like technology po talaga na advancement. Kami po sa GoEden, ang goal namin is we don't want to whitewash impact. When we say we are farmer-friendly, di ba, nasaan talaga yung farmers sa digitalization process? Uma-advance na yung mundo, QR codes na tayo, yung farmers natin traditional pa rin lahat most ng ginagawa, di ba? So, yun po yung sa amin. We hope that we get involved in policy talks so that we can also present the data that we have. Anong constraints? Anong choke point? Bakit ang dami-daming apps walang gumagamit? Una, yung mga apps naka-English po. Ang liliit ng font. Di ba? So, involved po ba ang farmers in our innovation cycle? Where are they in when we design the user interface and user experience of our apps, our online platforms? Asan po sila? Kasi po, we may have our best interest at heart, but if those technology are not needed or not wanted by our clients, hindi po yan gagamitin. So sana po ma-involve sila. And if hindi sila ma-involve, sana you involve those entities who have direct access to these farmers, i.e. kami po yun. So, yun po, hindi po ako nagbibiro. We train Our marketing efforts are backed by offline efforts. To date, I have spoken and trained 2,000 farmers and wala po kaming binebenta doon. Those are just educating them on how to spot fake products in the market. Wala po, hindi po kami nagbebenta doon sa mga events na yon. Ang ginagastusan po namin yon marketing-wise. Okay, so yun lang po yung hope namin that in terms of collaboration, sana po ma-involve kami sa policy talks that we get to say and present data-driven na mga problem po and constraints sa field. But second din po siguro is that sana po yung direction din ng government towards innovation, it's not sporadic. Like sana po, kunyari may grant. Sana may continuity yung mga startups or mga nabibigyan ng grant. Kasi we really see a very evident cut in the innovation cycle. Mabibigyan ng grant tapos yun na yun. Matatapos yung event tapos yun na yun. I mean, sorry to put it bluntly, but sayang po lahat ng efforts towards encouraging our youth. Because the youth, they have to see that this could be like a real career. This could be ako po, farmer po ako, rice farmer po kami. Buong buhay ko po nagtatanim ako ng palay, nagbibilad. So alam ko po yung realities nun. So yun po yung hope namin that when there are private sector and government collaboration, the government can also use kami, startups like us, to encourage the youth to like actively participate in the scene because this could be like a very promising but also profitable career din po. So yun po, salamat po.
Yes, that's right. That's really a good point. Indeed, there's no denying that startups are changing the way social technology and social or campaign awareness are doing, right? So in terms of what Ms. Juka mentioned, collaboration of the private sector with the government, Sir Glenn, would you like to respond to that, especially on what we are doing in the Department of Agriculture in terms of starting consultations with private sector and other stakeholders or private partners for development?
Yeah. For one, the Department of Agriculture, we can ensure you or assure you that we are very much welcoming as far as these digital transformation initiatives. With regards to involving, we have a hard case, a use case, hard use case. And as far as, of course, changing or developing a learning platform and involving all stakeholders, the private sector, the farmers themselves, understanding their problem, getting in from our very own perception, going to their perspective, in having conducting co-designing modules, even with as far as Theoro developing future policies. We'll make sure that all it's going to be very participatory. That's one thing that we could promise you right now. Then of course, the bottom line of digitalization ends with data. We have tremendous, as far as collections of information, as mentioned by Sir, we have a lot of information currently in store for us. But on how to make use of it in such a way that it has influence over policy decisions, even at the macro and the micro level. I think gone are the days that we do the top down. No, when gone are the days. That's no longer the formula in coming up with development strategies. I think my partner beside me is a hard use case of going doing the grassroots level development. So maybe after these sessions, this ICTforAg, actually I was talking with the sponsor of this event, it's ATI, if we could do something that it's more local and have more time, spend more time of getting more because this is just one day event, right? So we cannot just get everything in one day, as we know. So it's going to be a continuous process for us. And before we reach the, we have made some strides. Don't I don't know, we don't want to discount that. But again, going to that light at the end of the tunnel, it's still a long way, I believe. Yeah, still a long.
I would like just to add to Sir Glenn and Ma'am. I would like to thank everyone. All of this effort that we are doing now is for us, the farmers. No? So they have common goals and collaborating to help us farmers. And I can be a witness to what the government is doing right now. They are doing the grass from they are starting all the solving problem solving from the grassroots. Especially Sir Glenn has been to our association. No, that was very far away from here. That was in Mindanao, in North Cotabato, but we still managed to go there just to consult and to collect data from the farmers. And also, I would like to thank the private sector who is also doing their part, not only uh, aiming to have a profit, but also to help the farmers. No, so in fact, on our recent uh, training that we have done in DFP in 101 and 102. So it was a collaboration with the private and the government sector, ATI, the DA, the smart communication. So they are collaborating just to deliver the services for the farmers like us. No, and I would like to commend all those efforts for the people behind. No? So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much for that wonderful discussion. I think we're running a little bit late on time, but of course, we're still going to proceed with our question for Assistant Professor Sanchez. Sir, if you can answer briefly, what critical role do academic and research institutions play in advancing digital agriculture, and how can they bridge the gap between technological innovation and practical application on the ground?
Okay. So my answer for that is create and share knowledge. So that's what we really need to do. And I believe the academy is moving towards that direction into like gone are the days. We hope that gone are the days that all of our researches are just in the bookshelves. We're also starting to practice customer discovery, ideate all of these things so that our researches are relevant to today's modern world. And also, of course, create one example is I believe is Professor Dorado is here in the Sarai project. So again, it's our job is really to create technological babies, as I call them, and then to nourish them and let them grow. And then once they're grown enough, nourished enough, it's time for to let them go to the world and have a life of its own, something like that.
That's very nice, Prof. Because as you mentioned, create and share knowledge. It's very timely since you know UP's what do you call this tagline has evolved from honor and excellence into honor, excellence, and service. So I think it is very important to create more collaborative projects together with practical applications so that a more collaborative efforts between public and private sectors, academe, and the government, could really help our cause together. So thank you very much, Prof. Sanchez.
Thank you, sir. Let's now move on to our next question for Sir Charlie Pasaquian. Sir, as a farmer leader, what are the main challenges you face when helping fellow farmers adapt digital agriculture solutions? And how do you think various partners from the government, private companies, and other organizations can support to address these challenges and ensure that these solutions are accessible and beneficial?
Okay, so challenges. It's been a challenging for us as a farmer leader to implement digitalization, especially on our farmer. For us, associations alone cannot do it on ourselves because we have no resources for that development. But I think the government agencies, the private sector are joining hands together to uh, hurdle those challenges. And as of now, it's still challenging because uh, right now, especially on our area, most of the farmer are older generations and exposing them to the digital world is such a big challenge for them. It's better for them to go to the field and be there at the sunlight the whole day than holding a cell phone and scrolling those applications. But with what the DFP is doing, we are partnering with the older farmer and the young farmer to study as one. No? The younger farmer will teach the older farmer into digitalization. And I think those uh, challenges can be conquered when we work together as one, the government, the academe, especially, no? So the private sector and the government with the policies that they have. So I think those challenges will just be in a matter of time. It will be just smoothen up.
Yes, sir. Going back to what Sir Glenn mentioned earlier, right? I just like to highlight also and align with what you said, sir. It's agriculture, digital agriculture is just another culture to build for our farmers and fisher folk, right, sir? And then you also mentioned about the collaboration between a young farmer and an older farmer. If to our attendees, if you want to know more about it, you can participate in our breakout session for the Digital Farmers Program. All right. Sir, indeed, your experiences underscore the importance of tailored support for our farmers, and it might be beneficial for organizations to really develop farmer-centric digital tools that are easy to use and highly relevant and very friendly for our farmers.
Okay, I think for the last question for our panelists, this section, I think this topic has been touched already, but I'm still gonna ask Sir Glenn quickly, what are the primary challenges in creating substantial local impact through digital agriculture, and how can multi-stakeholder partnerships overcome these obstacles?
I think the number one challenge, primary challenge, we can have, I think, highlight four. One is still digital divide. That's ranked number one as far as limited access to digital tools and, of course, infrastructure. uh, so I think for the digital divide, it's very important for us to have a strong digital literacy programs as DFP, as what DFP is doing, or even enhance DFP to hurdle that challenge. Second is financial constraints, of course. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. Yeah. High cost of digital technologies and services can be the main reason, even if it has a very promising possibilities for farmers. But at the end of the day, if it's something that is beyond their resources, uh, it will not be used. It will remain on the shelves, and we don't want that. So for the government, I think uh, we can have some incentives for adapters, or even support for startups like them, in order for them to make themselves uh, they don't for the startups, they won't worry about uh, their credibilities or their legitimacy or as they transact with the stakeholders, and maybe our collaboration, knowing that the government is with them, it could advance them, no? Initially. So tapos as I mentioned, yeah, little lack of digital literacy because of our farmers are aging, but there are a lot of possibilities. Our youth could be is the I believe as of the moment they're still the most abundant untapped resource to become there as intermediaries for these technologies. They are the ones using the cell phones. They are the ones more have more appreciation and understanding of these digital technologies. So when if we have these intermediaries in place in at a achieving a certain critical mass, and then I think the digital transformation could be easier, not easy, but could be easier. And lastly, of course, this is where all the challenges, uh, I could say this is a choke point. When we talk about data privacy, security, um, uh, it is some as maybe as far as the government is concerned, as far as these regulations. Currently, I could say there's not much policies in place to handle that. No, so I think being the government, uh, being on a developmental stance, maintaining that when we craft the policies, I think that is a advantage at now than being more strictly regulated. Yeah. So I think having the more developmental stance for regulations on policies as well could facilitate the transformation easier for the Philippines as a whole.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Glenn. Indeed, overcoming these obstacles requires concerted efforts from all stakeholders involved, and it's crucial to develop flexible strategies that can adapt to both local conditions and needs. Okay, so as much as we'd like to continue doing this discussion, I think it's about time to
Yeah, we
let
are
our
now
audience.
we are now opening the floor for a question.
One question only. So whoever raises their hand first gets to ask the panelists a question. One, two, three, go. Okay, ma'am.
Yes,
I saw
ma'am.
you first. Here's the microphone.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, and good morning to our panelists. By the way, I'm Jennifer Joyce Subang, the COO of SF Group of Companies. We are an agri-tech ecosystem with affiliates that are engaged into this various ecosystem. So this question is directed to Director Glenn. Bakit lagi na siya? Okay. Anyway, we understand because like we are also a private sector, and I agree with Ms. Juka earlier in regards to if there's policies, if we're crafting policies, especially with the adaptation of this innovation with technology, to invite the private sectors. So it's good that we have the farmers sector here, and also platform development startup. So having said that, we have noticed that agriculture in the Philippines is the least digitalized, right? And farming and agriculture is the most conventional and traditional in the Philippines. Therefore, when we do the adoption, when we started adopting this technology, the problem is government crafted policies. However, it was not attuned, or it did not consider that when we do innovation, when we have technology, it's fast changing, it's very agile, right? So now for those companies or private sector that are trying to comply with the regulations are now being penalized. So we are penalized on following a policy that is not attuned to what is currently happening. Like for example, for the use of drone. Recently, I know Otap was with me when we just recently arrived from Thailand, no? And I just realized that wow, they had already what? They had exported drones, agricultural drones for the past 3 years, more than 10,000 drones. Did you know how many in the Philippines? Less than 500 for the past, 5, 6 years for agricultural drones. So you can see the discrepancy. And then, I just found out that why were they able to adopt as fast and able to adopt this kind of technology? Because they don't have regulations. Yeah, they, I mean, the government was no regulation, so no policy. What I'm trying to say is that the private sectors, the farmers there are very open, to adopting this technology, wherein the government was trying. Actually, it was the government was trying to give some leeway and leniency, not really leniency, but providing or supporting the private sectors. In fact, the certification. So it's not really the government who's doing the certification, it's the private sector. So I just hope, okay, that our government should be able to adopt. So now my question is the government agency agile enough to adopt the fast changing technology and innovation for agriculture?
So let me narrow down your concern. Um, because drones are treated as an aircraft here in the Philippines. And of course, what's governing them is the civil aviation law, which was passed 1950s, I believe. So I was not even born yet. And most of us, I believe. But anyway, that's one thing with having a regulation that was passed without anticipating what's the future would be. See, but and but I would answer you now in a way that we are trying to come up with innovative ways and to somehow respond as far as agility and to somehow mainstream this technology such as the drone uh, into the practice of our farmers. So I believe with respect to your concern as far as the limitations of the use of drones with regards to the chemicals, uh, the, the tedious process of registering, uh, acquiring licenses and all, I'm aware of the lengthy and the paperwork that you have to put together. And as a result, yes, I believe Cambodia has surpassed us as far as this particular technology. But yes, I think we are still learning with what Vietnam, what Thailand did, and as far as this technology. Yes, I have heard that they are less regulated. But of course, maybe um, or one initiative that we did is to amend a certain memorandum circular that's still that governs a particular technology such as the drone as far as the fertilizer and pesticide use. So it's still with ARTA as of the moment. So, but whenever we got that exemption, then we could do the off-label later on. And then I believe that's one thing that's prevent the the drone the possibilities with the drones as far as handling the pest and disease management across, I think, all sectors naman na. It's just not about rice anymore, but also other commodities as well. So I think, yeah, as far we are doing our best, ma'am, uh, to answer with time as far as the needs and the evolution of the technologies. So yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Glenn. Thank you, Sir Glenn. Indeed, small progress is still progress, I guess. And so now, so sorry everyone. I know some of you might have questions, but don't worry, you can still catch them live this afternoon during the breakout sessions. Just refer to our schedule posted outside. And once again, thank you very much to all of you for your insightful contributions. Today, we've discussed the importance of effective policy frameworks, the various roles of different stakeholders, challenges, and opportunities in localizing digital agriculture. And I'm sure our audience has gained a lot from this discussion. So once again, thank you very much.